Hi guys, Sinead here with Free Tours by Foot London. I'm so sorry, but I am so excited right now. I am in one of the most amazing locations in London. Look behind me here, this gorgeous neighborhood, you guys. Stunning homes, exclusive residences, very famous people living around here. But why am I here? Music. Oh my God, this is like the best feeling ever. Every time I come up here, I feel like this. I'm heading to one of the most famous recording studios in London. Oasis, Muse, Kate Bush, Kylie, Radiohead, Amy Winehouse, Adele, Lady Gaga have all recorded in here. But that's not the most exciting part, you guys. We are going to the home of the recording studio of the Beatles, you guys. This is Abbey Road. Now, I'm going to turn you around here. I'll explain all how to get here, etc. very shortly. But for right now, I can't contain myself because coming up is the sensational recording studio where, in my opinion, one of the greatest albums ever in history was written in 1969, the amazing Abbey Road album. And here we are, you guys. Abbey Road. In the Abbey Road shop. We got a lot of little fans leaving their personal messages. I'll be doing that as well myself. No matter how many times I come up here, it just gets so much more interesting every time and exciting, knowing that the Beatles recorded in here all those years ago. Now, it was the 11th studio album of the Beatles, which actually came under fire quite a bit by the critics, but now it's kind of widely regarded as one of the greatest albums ever written. The studios itself were named originally EMI Studios, but they renamed it Abbey Road Studios, because of its location and the success of the Beatles album. So, of course, the infamous cover features all four Beatles heading across this pedestrian crossing. Now, I'll show you that in a minute. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Now, as I mentioned, it did receive mixed reviews originally, the Abbey Road album, but it topped the charts in the UK and the US. I think it took about 6 months, actually, to record Abbey Road. What's quite interesting is the green plaque they choose to have here at the front of the studios is to commemorate Edward Alger, which I find quite ironic, considering that it's really most famous for its association with the Beatles. Now, fans flock here in their thousands all the time to pay tribute to the Beatles. That album, of course, produced by George Martin. Production did last from February to August in 1969. The closing track, the end, was the very last track where all four Beatles recorded together. Now, on our rock and roll tour, we will also feature the last Beatles performance ever, which was on top of Savile Row. Now, the album release, even though people didn't really realise this, but John Lennon had left the band 6 days before the release of the album. McCartney didn't announce the split in the band until April, pretty sure it was April 1969, you guys. So let's just show here as well. There's an amazing photo of John and Yoko right here. And there is the John and Yoko, the Ultimate Collection. Ooh, sorry about the screeching. Now, obviously, we're not allowed to enter in, but it's been a recording studio over the years for so many other artists. Now, the iconic image of the four Beatles crossing the pedestrian crossing was right here. Now, there was the legend at the time that it was to represent the funeral of Sir Paul McCartney, because doing the rounds, this conspiracy theory in 1969 was that Paul McCartney had had an argument with the Beatles, left the studio, had a car crash, and was decapitated. And he was actually replaced, they say, by this guy called William Campbell, I think his name was actually. He was an orphan from Edinburgh, and he won a Paul McCartney lookalike contest. And this was doing the rounds for quite a few years, actually. This gentleman is walking across history. So they say that William Campbell replaced Paul McCartney, and there were so many conspiracy theories doing the rounds. One of them, first of all, was about the way the four boys were walking across the pedestrian crossing. On that actual album, you'll see Ringo Starr was dressed in black to represent the Undertaker. Lennon was in white, representing a heavenly figure. One of them, George Harrison, was in denim, and they say that was to represent the gravedigger. And also, McCartney was actually barefoot in that famous album cover, which has been imitated so many times around the world, the most infamous image in rock and roll history. And McCartney was to represent the fact that he was out of step with the others, was essentially symbolised that he was a corpse. So, if you're enjoying the tour so far, why don't you go ahead and click that like button and help others discover this video. And if you would like to watch more walking tour videos like this one, then also consider subscribing to our channel and click that notification bell so that you don't miss any new videos. In addition to walking tour videos, we also offer videos on London, travel tips, as well as videos covering day trips from London. And if you have any place that you would like to see us offer a video tour of, then leave your suggestions in the comments section below. And lastly, if you'd like to buy your tour guide a pint or a cup of coffee, links to do so are also in the description below. Now back to the tour. Now there was another theory, because right at the back, just around here, where the pole is, there was a white Volkswagen Beetle, and the number plate on that Beetle at the time was LMW 28IF, and this people thought was a representation again of these like hidden secrets that Paul McCartney, or hidden symbolisms that Paul McCartney had died. So LMW, people were saying, represented Linda McCartney Weeps, or Linda McCartney Widow, and 28IF meant the age Paul McCartney would have been if he had survived. But the truth about it actually was, Paul McCartney had basically retired to the farm with Linda, was enjoying the family life, but he did say himself in an interview afterwards that people assumed he was dead because he used to be, notorious for giving interviews. He gave one a week, and then he went into a private, but it even made it into the top 10 conspiracies in Time magazine. One other thing they suggested as well was a clue to his death, was that left-handed Paul McCartney was holding a cigarette with his right hand, but of course we know it's all nonsense. And the reason we know is Paul McCartney also lives in this neighbourhood, you guys. So here is the famous Abbey Road, totally accessible for everybody. The studios itself opened up in 1931, and in fact there was a campaign, I believe, to develop the studios and tear them down, but now it's a listed building, so it can never it's protected, in other words, so it can never be replaced. But I mean, so many amazing artists have performed in here. Kanye West performed in here with a live orchestra of females. I know I get a lot of abuse for liking Kanye, but look at John and Yoko. I mean, just being here alone. So of course I'm going to have to do the famous walk, which I'm going to look a bit ridiculous because I'm on my own and nobody's filming me, but I don't care. It's me doing it, so hopefully you'll feel like you're with me, you guys. But we're also in the neighbourhood of Lord's Cricket Ground is around here. Rihanna rented a house here when she recently revealed she was staying in London for a full year, and people weren't aware that she was in London. But here we go, you guys. So I have to go slowly. This is the place that tourists all flock to, but I cannot believe how quiet it is here today. Any Beatles special occasions like anniversaries, Beatles fans will flock here in their thousands. But there you are. Here it is, you guys. And in order to get here, you just come to St. John's Wood. Now, St. John's Wood tube station is on the Central Line, so perfectly accessible from central London. The Central Line, very easy to get to, and it's a gorgeous neighbourhood, you guys. The houses around here are just to die for. So I hope you're as excited as me. I'm standing in front of history, you guys. Hopefully you will join me for the next part of the tour. Here is the famous. Now the pedestrian crossing is also protected, you guys. And they do have to repaint it, I think something like 300 times a year, so I've heard. And I'm happy to report Paul McCartney is alive and well and living in St. John's Wood, his London residence. And long live Sir Paul McCartney. I'm signing out again. Having a look around the neighbourhood. We'll give you more info later on. Hope you enjoyed my little excitement. Sorry if I was a little bit over the top, but it is the Beatles. Sinead here in London, signing out on this beautiful day, St. John's Wood in London.